जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरवरधारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरवरधारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभ। यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन। यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन। यमुना तीर वनचारी। यमुना तीर वनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम राम राम। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Ram Ram. Jaya Radha Madan Mohan Radha Madan Mohan Radhe. Jaya Jaya Jagannath Jagannath Baladev Subhadra. Jaya Gauranitai 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 Jaya Gauranitai. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Prabhupada. जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य स्तोत्र सदाभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी शिल प्रभुपाद की जय। इस्कॉन प्रतिष्ठाता आचार्य शिल प्रभुपाद की जय। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य स्तोत्र सदा भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती ठाकुर गोस्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवते उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 24, Text 34. So we'll recite the sloka text together, and we'll read translation and purport given by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, and we'll discuss on that actually. Nama Pankajanaಭಾಯ Bhuta Sukshmendriyatmane Vasudevaya Santaya Kutastaya Swarochise. Nama Pankajanaಭಾಯ Bhuta Sukshmendriyatmane Vasudevaya Santaya Kutastaya Swarochise. Nama Pankajanaಭಾಯ Bhuta Sukshmendriyatmane Vasudevaya Santaya Kutastaya Swarochise. Nama Pankajanaಭಾಯ Sukshmendriyatmane Kutastaya Swarochise. Namah Pankajanaಭಾಯ Bhutasukshmendriyatmane Vasudevaya Santaya Kutastaya Svarochise Namah Pankajanaಭಾಯ Bhutasukshmendriyatmane Vasudevaya Santaya Kutastaya Svarochise. Anyone else? Namah Pankajanaಭಾಯ Bhutasukshmendriyatmane Vasudevaya Santaya Kutastaya Svarochise. Any Mataji want to say? So, we'll read word to word meaning. Namaha, all obeisances unto you. Pankajanaಭಾಯ, unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, from whose navel the lotus flower emanates. Bhuta Sukshma, the sense objects. Indriya, the senses. Atmane, the origin. Vasudevaya, unto Lord Vasudeva. Shantaya, always peaceful. Kutasthaya, without being changed. Svarochise, unto the supreme illumination. Translation. My Lord, you are the origin of the creation by virtue of the lotus flower which sprouts from your navel. You are the supreme controller of the senses and the sense objects, and you are also the all-pervading Vasudeva. You are most peaceful, and because of your self-illuminated existence, you are not disturbed by the 6 kinds of transformations. Please repeat. My Lord, you are the origin of the creation by virtue of the lotus flower which sprouts from your navel. You are the supreme controller of the senses and the sense objects, and you are also the all-pervading Vasudeva. You are most peaceful, and because of your self-illuminated existence, you are not disturbed by the 6 kinds of transformations. Purport. The Lord as Garbhodakshay Vishnu lies in the ocean of Garbha within this universe, and from his navel the lotus flower sprouts. Lord Brahma is generated from the lotus flower, and from Lord Brahma the creation of this material world begins. As such, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Garbhodakshay Vishnu, is the origin of the material senses and sense objects. Since Lord Shiva considers himself to be one of the products of the material world, his senses are under the control of the Supreme Creator. The Supreme Lord is also known as Rishikesha, Master of the senses, which indicates that our senses and sense objects are formed by the Supreme Lord. As such, he can control our senses and out of his mercy engage them in the service of the master of the senses. In the conditioned state, the living entity struggles in this material world and engages his senses for material satisfaction. However, if the living entity is graced by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he can engage these very senses in the service of the Lord. Lord Shiva desires not to be misled by the material senses, but to engage always in the service of the Lord without being subject to the contamination by materialistic influences. By the grace and help of Lord Vasudeva, who is all-pervading, one can engage his senses in devotional service without deviation, just as the Lord acts without deviation. The words Santaya Kutasthaya Swarochise are very significant. Although the Lord is within this material world, He is not disturbed by the waves of material existence. However, conditioned souls are agitated by 6 kinds of transformation. Namely, they become agitated when they are hungry, when they are thirsty, and when they are aggrieved, when they are illusioned, when they grow old, and when they are on the deathbed. Although conditioned souls become very easily illusioned by these conditions in the material world, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as the Super Soul, Vasudeva, is never agitated by this transformation. There it is said here, Kutastha, that he is always peaceful and devoid of agitation because his prowess, which is described in his Swarochise, indicating that he is illuminated by his own transcendental position. In other words, the individual soul, although within the illumination of the Supreme, sometimes falls down from the illumination because of his tiny position, and when he falls down, he enters into material conditioned life. The Lord, however, is not subject to such conditioning, therefore he is described as self-illuminated. Consequently, any conditioned soul within this material universe can remain completely perfect when he is under the protection of Vasudeva or when he is engaged in devotional service. Om Ajnana-timirandasya Jnananjana-salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namah Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vancha Kalpaturubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhya Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavyo. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. Seeking the blessings from all the Vaishnavas, especially His Grace Anandmaya Prabhu, I would like to speak on this verse. So we are hearing this, chanting the song sung by Lord Shiva. So here we see the Lord Shiva who appeared before Prachetas and pleased with them. Prachetas are the 10 sons of Prachina Barishat, who is coming in the lineal descendants of King Prathu, and King Prathu is coming in the lineal descendants of King Dhruva Maharaj actually. And because of their knowledge of dharma and good conduct, Lord Shiva saw that they are having dharma jnana and sila sampanna. Lord Shiva expressed his heart to Prachetas. In the previous sloka we say that how by taking the prapannam Vasudevam, surrendering to Vasudeva, everything will be, one will be perfect actually. And Lord Shiva will be very much pleased if anyone surrender to Lord Vasudeva. And with his merciful heart, now after expressing all to the Prachetas, now with this merciful heart, he started glorifying the Supreme Personality of Godhead here elaborately. Now he is speaking and the collective glorification of Lord, what he has expressing here in the form of Chaturvyuha is known as Rudra Gita. That now we are reading this Rudra Gita, and this is the second text is sloka is telling to the Prachetas. In the first sloka, Lord Shiva glorified all auspiciousness of the Lord. He is all auspicious. When we connect to the Lord, all subhada, all auspiciousness will come in our life. And emphasize the need to worship Him. That's why, therefore we have to worship Him, the Lord, to get. Because by virtue of all the perfect instruction, because why we have to, why He is all auspicious, why we have to worship? Because His perfect instructions He gives as the supreme living being as and the super soul. He always gives the perfect instructions which will make us everyone happy actually. So now further elaborating on Lord, glorifying Lord, here he is saying He is the original of the creation. Just like Namo Pankajanaabhaya, he is saying. So just like as Garbhodakshai Vishnu, how this material world emanates or created from the navel of Garbhodakshai Vishnu, lotus flower comes, and in that lotus flower Brahma comes. So first this creation of material world take place, Brahma comes, and in that navel coming from the stem of the lotus flower, all material world is created. And saying, so we see, and he saying He is the supreme controller of the senses and sense objects. So as we see, we are here, so we are having senses, and the senses are get attracted to sense objects. So He is the original creator and controller of actually. And He is all pervading Vasudeva. So He is creating and controlling the senses, sense objects, and He is all pervading everywhere actually. And after doing all this also, He is always Santaya, peaceful. He is very peaceful, because the Prabhupada says the Kutasthaya, Santaya Kutasthaya Swarochise actually, because He is undisturbed by 6 kinds of disturbances actually. Because He is always self-illuminated. That is the glorification of Lord is there. So we can say, so in spite, just like we see here, if anything is created and creation has to be done, maintained, then one is get disturbed if things doesn't go properly actually. But in spite of all creations and all pervasive, He is all pervading and controlling, He never gets disturbed or agitated. He is always remains Santaya, because He is not getting affected by 6 types of disturbance, or we can call 6 waves of disturbance, which is Prabhupada says that 6 kinds of, they become agitated when they are hungry, when they are thirsty. Yes, even if anyone is hungry, he will be disturbed because he wants, then I want food, something, thirsty, water, some to quench the thirst. When they are aggrieved or distress condition, when they are illusioned, getting confused, actually, moha. When they grow old also getting as disturbed, and when they are on the deathbed. These are the 6 transformations take place, and because of this, and Prabhupada says, in the conditioned state, the living entity struggles in this material world and engages his senses for material satisfaction. So these 6 waves are disturbing us, because these are related to our bodily consciousness. Distress, illusion, thirst, hunger, old age, death, shok, moha, kshuta, pipasa, and Jara Mrityu is called. So 6 kinds of. Whereas Lord is Shanta. Shantakaram Bhujagasayanam Padmanabham Suresam Viswadaram Gaganasadrisam Padmanabham Suresam Lakshmi Kantam Kamalanayanam Lakshmi Kantam Kamalanayanam Yoga Gamyam Vande Vishnu Bhavabhayaharam Sarvalokaikannatham. He is Santakaram. He is having in Santakaram, always peaceful, is there actually. So, this is the glorification Lord Shiva is making for. So, Lord Shiva is always glorifying. He is and in this way he is always remaining transcendentally situated actually. And he also mercifully advising or instructing and speaking to prachetas who are already dharma jnana, already interested in dharma, and a sila sampanna, and good character persons are there. So, how to remain transcendentally situated. This is the purpose of the Rudra Gita actually. And here the prachetas are already highly elevated, they are inquisitive, they are interested, and Lord Shiva is always transcendentally situated. How he is remaining transcendentally? By always glorifying Lord in this way actually. So, and he is in this way he is showing the Lord's omnipotent, omnipresent and omniscient position of the Lord actually. He is omnipotent, Sarva Shaktiman. He is creating this material world, Brahma, everything. That's why all riches, all strength we can see in this. And omnipresent, he is Sarvavyapi, he is all pervasive in the form of Vasudeva. And he is omnipotent in the sense that he is controlling Bhuta Sukshmendriya Atmane, senses, sense object, controller of the sense objects. And he is omniscient. He is Sarvagya. He knows everything actually. Kutastha and Kutasthaya Swarochise. Vasudevaya Santaya. So, even though omnipresent is there, but he is Santaya because Kutasthaya Swarochise. So, he is not getting disturbed because he is self-illuminated. This is the way that how Lord Shiva is glorifying the Lord as omnipotent, omnipresent and omniscient actually. So, Prabhupada is speaking here actually. So, the individual soul or conditioned soul here struggling actually. So our struggle is, Prabhupada says, when they are hungry, because of these 6 agitations are there actually. Why these 6 agitation which the Lord is not getting affected or influenced by? Because it is His creation, and He is always self-illuminated. And Prabhupada says, we are tiny actually. Our position is very tiny. Although we are within the illumination of the Supreme, sometimes fall down from that illumination because of his tiny position actually. So if we remain under the illumination of Lord, we will also be transcendentally situated. Because our fall down happens because of our, the reason for also is our foolish mentality to remain outside the illumination of the Lord actually. And because of that, we enter into this material conditioned life. So the reason why we fall down actually is that the reason for that happens is because as we foolishly with foolish mentality we decide not to be under illusion, then we get vibhrama, means vismriti happens of our identity. So that the tattva, that who we are, we forget actually. Forgetfulness comes, that is because of tattva brahma. Tattva brahma means swatattva brahma, paratattva brahma, sadhya brahma, sadhana brahma. This type of illusion gets. Swatvatva means who we are, we forget actually. Then paratattva, who is the Supreme Personality of God. Sadhya, what is to be achieved, actually the pure love of God, that we forget actually. And sadhan, what to do to achieve this sadhya, what we are going to goal of our life, we forget. This is called tattva brahma happens, and with that what? Asat trishna will come, means desires come, because we are having senses, because we forgot our identity, so we connect ourselves with the material senses and we look forward for the material sense objects actually. So the desire for material objects and the desire for our heavenly comforts and desire for our yoga, mystic power, or desire for liberation comes into us. Different varieties this happens. And with that, what is on our heart become weak. Hridaya daurbalyam actually. With that, what is, we look for all unwanted objects which is not related to Krishna, which is allowing us to come under the illumination of the Lord. So this is called, this is tuchha sakti, and then start finding faults with other if you are not getting our desires fulfilled, kutinati and matsarya, and that we become envious to others when our desires are not getting fulfilled, and with that matsarya, and then we want our swapratishtha and we want to establish ourselves, we are the great or something called. For our recognition, we try actually, that we want to recognize separate from Lord actually. Instead of being a servant of Lord, we want to establish. And then we start doing aparadha, nam aparadha, seva aparadha, vaishnava aparadha, and jiva aparadha. All these anarthas actually give birth to 6 our unwanted things: lust, greed, anger, illusion, pride, and envy. And these 6 our enemies begets these 6 waves actually. From these 6 enemies, these 6 this comes, it is which is mentioned here, 6 kinds of transformation or 6 kinds of waves haunt us actually. This is our distress, illusion, hunger, thirst, old age, and death. So with this, we are not able to see what is the reality actually. So how to come back to our illusioned stage actually. So we have to, where the illusion is there, we have to go and take the illusion actually. How to get the come out of illusion? We have to be illuminated. For getting out of illusion, we have to come into the illumination, light we can say. So that is that. Prabhupada says here actually, Prabhupada says, however individual souls Therefore it is said, individual souls, although within the illumination, sometimes fall down from the illumination because of his tiny position. And he get conditioned. And he get conditioned means 6 waves coming from 6 enemies, and which is coming from all anarthas. Tattva Brahma and Hridaya Dorbalyam, Asatrishna and Aparad. These are all our package is there, full package. We are getting into it, trapped by this actually. And what is then? Prabhupada give the solution also. Consequently, any conditioned soul within this material universe can remain completely perfect when he is under the protection of Vasudeva or when he is engaged in devotional service. Yes. So, protection of Vasudeva. And it is mentioned that Vasudeva in the Chaturvya form, he is a consciousness. Chitta actually is there actually. He represents Chit actually. So, that is also called Vasudeva Sattva. Krishna consciousness is called, that is the Vasudeva Sattva. And he is all pervading, omnipresent, present everywhere at all times actually, Chitta. And engaging, so by engaging in devotional service, Prabhupada is saying here, we can come out of the illusion and we come to the illumination actually. So by surrendering. So here we see need is there. We need Lord Shiva like Mahajan. Swayambhu Narada Sambhu Kumara Kapullo Manu Prahlada Janako Bhishma Vayasiki Ayam. So these are the Mahajans are there. So Lord Shiva is Mahajan and he is giving the instructions, guidance to the Prachetas who are ready and who are already Dharma Jnana and Sila Sampanna. So he is giving. So, and our Shastra also says, Mahajano yena gata sapantha. So, we have to follow the Mahajan. So, these 12 Mahajans are there. And following the Mahajan, for us, the present Mahajan is Prabhupada, he is Mahajan and he is a Mahatma actually. Those who are following in the footsteps of Mahajan is also Mahajan, Mahatma. So, even in Bhagavad Gita it says, Mahatmanas tumam partha devim prakritim asrita bhajanti ananya manaso gyatva bhutadim avyayam actually. So, who is called Mahatma? Who is under par Mahatmanam supartha devim prakritim asrita actually. Who is always taking the shelter of Devi Prakriti. Devi Prakriti means the Lord who is always situated transcendentally. That is Devi Prakriti, transcendental. So Devim Prakritim Asrita, taking shelter of that Prakriti. And Bhajanti Ananya Manaso, he worship or he engage in devotional service. Ananya Manaso, taking full shelter and surrender to the Lord actually. Gyatva, then one knows he is Bhuta Adim Avyayam. He is the creator. Like this here it is said that Pankajanabhaya Adim, the creator of the Srishti, universe actually. And he is eternal. He is eternal. So one can know only when one is situated transcendentally or taking shelter or surrender to the Lord actually. And how one can become Mahatma is also explained in Bhagavad Gita. Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantascha dridavata namasyantascha mam bhaktya nitya yukta upasate actually. So that is satatam kirtayam, always glorifying actually. Yatantascha dridhavrata means with full endeavor and with determination actually. and Nitya Yukta, always with full endeavor and with determination. This is called sincerity actually. If one takes the process of devotional service sincerely, so sincerely means trying. It is not perfect. Sincerity means trying with full endeavor, with determination, always. Three things. If something is lacking, missing, then our sincerity also goes down and is in this way actually. So Mahatmas are not with the name given, oh, rubber stamp is not there actually. It is practice is there to become Mahatma actually. So we see how can we always remain sincere actually. So sincerity comes when we always focus on transcendental mercy which is coming actually. So this transcendental mercy comes when an Mahatma and devotee transcendentally intervenes in our life actually. He comes, we say Guru, Sadhu, Shastra, and like this devotee come in our life, enters into intervention they make. And then we start taking transcendental instruction. First transcendental intervention. If they don't intervene, we don't get instructions. So this is Krishna's system. He provides everything to that his pure devotees and shastras and sadhus. They are reaching to people and intervening in their life to take up this transcendental devotional services. And after taking instructions, one has to do transcendental corrections also actually. So transcendental instructions are there. We have given Sikshastakam, Cheto, Darpana, Marjanam. These are the instructions that have to purify our consciousness. And that is what is the transcendental correction? Trinadapi Sunichena, Tarorapi Saisnuna, Amanina, Manadina. These are the transcendental corrections are there. And when we do transcendental correction, then will be transcendental situation comes to us actually. And then what is the transcendental situation? Kirtaniya Sada Hari actually. That is called Atma Rama type situation. If we are not transcendently situated, we will be situated in mixed way. That is, transcendental situation means Kirtaniya Sadhari. Mixed way means Sada, every time glorifying us, and Yada Kada, glorifying Lord. Means sometime Lord, sometime us. Mixed glorification. And what is the lowest situation? We don't glorify at all. That is called transcendental annihilation actually. Completely forgetting our transcendental position actually. So completely annihilation comes, and that is always worry, because without Hari, without Hari we will always be worrying actually. So that is therefore attachment to Mahatma, then we become detached from the matter actually. This is the, so one has to follow Mahatma, Mahajan, only then we can get detached, and then we can be free from conditioned life, and that will happen, actual happen by transcendental corrections. Tranadapi Sunichena, Tarorapi Saisnuna, Amanina, Manadena, Kirtaniya Sadhari. And these are all elevated Lord Shiva, Prachetas, and that's same opportunity available for us in the form of Prabhupada, Mahajana, Mahatma, and instructions are available to us, and corrections are available to us, and then we can get transcendentally situated by practicing sincerely with full endeavor and firm determination always. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Once more. Any questions? Any comments? ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय।